world. So today we're going to talk about The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.L. Clune. Now, a lot of people have told me that this is a hug in a book. And it is a really lighthearted and easy book to read. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the magic here. So, just as a way of a quick synopsis, the book is set in a world similar to ours, I think. It's a little unclear. But essentially in this world, there are magical creatures. And these magical creatures, if they have children that are orphaned, these children are placed in special orphanages that are run by a special department of the government that oversees magical youth. And our protagonist, Linus, I hope I'm saying that right, anyway. He is a caseworker. He's like a social worker for magical youth. He goes into these orphanages and he sees whether or not they are up to snuff and they are treating the children well and so forth and so on. And then at the start of the book, he is sent to a special orphanage that is on this island in the middle of the ocean, obviously, or not in the middle of the ocean, but in the ocean. And this is a special orphanage because the children here are particularly dangerous, and Linus has to go and evaluate the situation. So, what did I like about this book? I like Mr. Clune's writing. It's a very, very accessible writing style. The tone and the atmosphere of this book are so, so good, particularly the atmosphere. That is, I think, why people talk about this book as a hug, because you read it and it really just resonates all the way through. Such a good example of what a writing style and tone can really do for the book and for the story. The other thing I really enjoyed about this story was our main character, our protagonist, Linus. I thought he was a genuinely sweet man. I really liked him. He had an explosive character arc, I think, and I found it really enjoyable to watch, and I was very invested in what was going to happen to Linus. The other things that I really liked about this book were all the kids. The kids in this orphanage, they were all really interesting. The magical creatures that were described were really interesting. And the way that the author described how each of these creatures, well, I shouldn't say creatures, each of these kids sort of adapted with their specific abilities and so forth was really interesting. So I liked all of that a lot. Things that I didn't like in this book. First of all, I found the world building to be a little blunted. I really didn't get the sense of this is a world that if I stepped too far off of the scenes that were written, there wouldn't be a world. I didn't think that this world was particularly well fleshed out. As I said earlier, it looks to be a world similar to ours. I say it looks to be because we don't know. It's just never described. Anything beyond something that a character interacts with is just never fleshed out or articulated. So there's no real, I didn't get a sense of depth in this world at all. Secondly, this is not a plot-based book. It's not meant to be. I don't think Mr. Clune set out to write a book that has a strong, compelling plot. But even with a very thin plot, there were a lot of convenient things that happened. really, really convenient. And that took me out of the story a bit. To basically anytime there's either conflict to cause the characters to do something, and that conflict is very, very convenient, or there is an overarching problem, but that problem is just very easily solved, again, by something quite convenient. So, didn't enjoy the plot for that reason. The other thing is, okay, it's not a plot-driven book, it's a character-driven book, but other than Linus, we don't see a large amount of change in characters. There's maybe one of the kids that you can see some growth over the course of the book, but not really. For the most part, again, other than Linus and maybe one of the kids, every person in this book starts at one place, and at the end of the book, they're still there. So for a character-driven book, there weren't a lot of characters that were experiencing any growth. The other thing that I didn't care for in the growth of the characters was how quick it was. The book takes place over a month. The main part of the book takes place over the course of 1 month, and I think at the end they tack on maybe a couple more weeks. I can't remember. But the thrust of the change is over the course of 1 month. And that just falls a little flat to me. I don't see how people can change that much that quickly over the course of a month. Finally, the other thing that I didn't care for in this book was there were a lot of sound bites. The lessons were really pat. It was like, okay, you can pause it. Here's the sound bite that is the moralistic lesson. Done. Copy, paste, put on an influencer's Facebook page, call it a day on Instagram. And they read like they needed to be momentous. And I mean, it didn't resonate with me, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make here. So rating wise, this is a 3 out of 5 for me. I think this is a good book. Mr. Clune delivered what he set out to write, so which is why I've rated it a solid 3-star book. I would recommend this book if you are looking for a light beach read or a happy read on a cozy Sunday afternoon. This is definitely pick this up. This is lighthearted. You'll never be anxious in this book, maybe for a brief moment, but I think you'll know that you don't need to be anxious. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And I'm not spoiling anything for you. This book has been described as getting a hug. I'm not getting a hug. Enjoyable. Now, I also learned a new word in this book. I'm going to try and circle them and bring them up every time. You may know this word, but it was new to me. And the word is bloviating. Bloviating. So, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, bloviating is to talk at length, especially in an inflated and empty way. Bloviating. I like that. I'm going to try and use it, especially to someone who may be bloviating at me. So let me know what you thought of this book if you have a chance to read it. Let me know if you think that I'm being overly critical on this hug. I don't know. It wasn't all that for me. Have a good day, guys. And like, subscribe, support what I do here. Bye.